We've got St. Matthews, we've got Hardin County, we've got Full County.
I didn't know J-Pack County was not on the roster for these.
All right. So we need 7. So Bullet.
Where's Tom?
KYTC, then Airport Authority. Clark. St. Matthews, we're on 5, we're on 5 of 7, but no pop on here.
Okay. Are we ready to start then?
Yeah, let's wait, let's get it.
Couple more minutes.
We got plenty of time. All
right.
We're not gonna. Hello, Tom.
Yeah, we got it.
We'll wait a couple more minutes, make sure we get. Folks, we should, this shouldn't be as long a meeting as some of them, and make sure our. Yes, speaker, oh, we are.
Yeah, no, we're not on it.
We're not. Okay. Hey, Mikhail.
Morning, Andy. How are you? Or I guess good afternoon. How are you doing?
Well. We'll get, Mikhail, we'll get the meeting started here in the next few minutes, and then, you'll be one of the early agenda items, once Greg does his public involvement, so you'll be ready to roll in the next 10 minutes or so.
Okay, let me try to.
One of the meeting minutes is being approved.
Yeah.
Shot was on though. There's Tony.
Okay. So in that, Chadley, Airport, Clark. So I got 2, we got 7, that would be it.
Jim's on here also. He's in the attendee thing, so Jim's joining, so that's Alvin County right there.
Okay.
Yeah, so you ready? Okay,
Greg, you ready?
Yes.
Yep, ready to
there
go.
you go. Well, good afternoon and welcome to the TPC meeting of March 26th, 2024. It's 12:30. At this time, Greg, call the roll, or Andy?
I'll take it. Yep, Bullock County,
Yes.
City of Charlestown. City of Jeffersontown.
Here.
Thank you for joining us. Anybody from City of Jeffersonville? New Albany? Shively?
Here.
Sean? St. Matthews?
Here.
Thank you all both for being here. Clark County?
Present.
Hey, Brian? Floyd County? NDOT? Or NDOT Central Office? NDOT Seymour?
Tony McClellan's here.
Tony?
Hold on, too. I'm trying to get her promoted in, but she's online.
All right. Jefferson County League of Cities. KYTC. You see go here. Cedro. Also from KYTC, we got Mikhail Pelfrey and Tom Hall. Also from NDOT Seymour, it looks like we have Haley Thomas. H. Thomas is online. Hi, Haley.
Hi, how are you guys today?
Doing well. Louisville Metro Government. I think Greg said that Deputy Mayor George is in
Yeah, she's in the.
the audience. We'll work to
In the audience.
get her promoted. We'll see here momentarily, I imagine. Louisville Regional Airport Authority.
Here.
Daryl. Oldham County.
Jim Silliman here.
Hello, Jim.
Good morning, or good afternoon.
Town of Clarksville. And Tark. Ooh, Town of Clarksville. There's Kevin Bates. Hello, Kevin. We got you just in time. Perfect timing.
Mike King just.
Mike King's here from Louisville Metro. Mike, thank you for joining us. Did I miss anybody that's on the line? I think that got us all. I think we got everybody in the room too, so we certainly have a quorum.
We have a quorum. Good deal. Okay, the first action item is the approval of the minutes from the February meeting of the TPC.
Motion. Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes from the February TPC meeting minutes as presented. All in favor, like sign aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Thank you. Public comment period, Greg?
Yes, did not receive any comments prior to the meeting. And if any come up during the meeting itself, I will bring them up in other business.
Okay, thank you. Public involvement report, Greg?
Where that real quick here. Go through the numbers for March. First up is our website analytics for the month of February. Down a little bit on all 3 pages, but or 2 pages at least. Main Kipta down a little bit, 200 visitors. I think it was around 215, 216 last month. Tip page saw a little bit of a drop. I think they were over 100 down to 92. But the MTP did see a little bit of a bump up to 69 visitors. So that's good to see. Social media analytics, we did see a drop across the board, which was not unheard of, but still really good average numbers for this. 9 posts, over 1,600 views, over 1,100 impressions on Facebook. X saw 8 posts at 468 impressions. And our Instagram page saw 613 impressions and 25 interactions. Again, I didn't have any events last month to go to that changes this month here. My first event is actually on Saturday, but wanted to go through the top posts from social media. The RCUT survey from KYTC and WKU saw the most views on both Facebook and Instagram, 248 views for Facebook, 181 impressions on Instagram. And X's top post was the went to the Riverport Authority announcement. We did receive 1 public comment. It was in the month of March. Typically, I do these this would have come in February, but since we don't have a meeting in April, I don't want to wait till May. This comment is mostly about the 2nd Street Bridge. They talk a little bit about the issues and concerns for the trucks and what these flex lanes, bus lane, could there be a flex lane, a bus lane, 2 lanes, 2 multimodal lanes, a slow traffic, looking at effective alternatives and just what they want to do. They speak about the community engagement. They didn't feel like that it was ineffective. Unfortunately, the person that sent us this email used our general inbox and did not leave a name or any contact information. So we were unable to contact them back, but I wanted to include it in the report so you all were aware of it. And one final thing, I just want to talk a little bit, it's a little interactive today. I want to talk about our MTP outreach we're getting ready to kick off. As I mentioned, I've got an event on Saturday that I'm going to. I'm hoping people on camera can see this as well. Essentially, what we're trying to get out of the public during our MTP outreach is going to be transportation priorities. Where do you all want it? Where does the public want us to spend the money at? So essentially what we're going to be asking is a theoretical question. If this represents $100, I gave you $100 and said, where do you want to spend it at? One of these 4 pots, which is one is maintenance. The other one is going to be the bike and pedestrian. The other one's going to be safety. And the final one's going to be congestion mitigation. And I ask you, I say, where do you want to spend this money? One of these 4 pots, you pick, drop the coin in, pick the choice. At the end of this, I'm going to do this through all our events that we run through the year. We're typically going through about November. And then I'm also going to plan on doing a couple of pop-up events at different like grocery stores, things like that. Just some of the areas that we don't necessarily hit, kind of southern Indiana, Oldham County, Bullitt County, make sure that we're getting out and talking to not just people that are coming out to events. And at the end of that, I'm going to create a report for the MTP that basically just breaks down where the priorities the public thinks we should be spending the money at. So I just wanted to bring that up. And like I said, you'll see that this first weekend. I'm also doing an online version that I'm going to have on our website. That's just going to ask the same question. We'll take the feedback from there. But I'll take any questions on that or the outreach report if anybody has any. But that wraps it up for me.
Well, Greg, thank you. Andy, the National Electric Vehicle Infrastructure Program update.
Yes, sir. Today we have a guest speaker from KYTC. KYTC's Director of the Division of Planning, Mikhail Pelfrey. Mikhail is here to talk to us about Kentucky's efforts for the NEVI program. Kentucky's been ahead of the game, way ahead of the game and compared to many states on the NEVI program. And Mikhail, happy to have you. I think Greg, do we have you have his presentation?
No, he's gonna
share
share
screen.
Yeah, can you hear me?
We got you. Floor's
Okay.
yours.
I'm gonna try to share it on my laptop. Let me know if you get this going.
Yep, we got you.
Okay. All right. Good afternoon, everybody. As Andy said, my name is Mikhail Peltry. I guess my day job, my typical job is Director of the Division of Planning, where I oversee about 45 employees within the Division of Planning, work closely with KIPTA and as well as the other 9 MPOs in the state of Kentucky. But I'm also assisting on the EV charging program effort as the Deputy Project Manager for the state of Kentucky. Justin Harrod is our project manager, program manager for NEVI, and he unfortunately could not be here today. He's actually at 4-H camp with one of his sons, which is where I was earlier this week. So we're kind of tag teaming this together. But I'm going to go over where we are with NEVI here in the state of Kentucky. We are, as Andy said, we're one of the leaders in the country in terms of both the number of stations we've got awarded and as well as the number of stations we've got opened. So here's the agenda. I'll tackle these 4 items with you all this afternoon. First, I'll start off with leading the charge. Kentucky is our in terms of where we are. It's important to note that the NEVI funds came with specific considerations. We had to designate alternative fuel corridors with the release of NEVI as a part of the bipartisan infrastructure law in 2022. So we've been hard at this now this is our 5th year. All our alternative fuel corridors initially were designated as interstates and parkways throughout the state of Kentucky. Those were our alternative fuel corridors where we needed to essentially have a station approximately every 50 miles and no more than 1 mile off of the exit. Each year we've had to submit a EV deployment plan to FHWA, and we've had to get that approved to be able to tap into the funding obligated, or I guess designated for the state of Kentucky. So as of now, we've currently got $55 million of the $70 million that is available for us to use. The last $15 million is the fiscal year 2026 funding that we have not been able to get yet, but we'll be working towards that here in the future. Status where we are right now. This is actually I put this presentation together last week. We're really hitting this hard now. So I've got 6 stations open. That is soon to be 7. A 7th station will be open in Paducah, hopefully by the end of the month. And the 18 sites under construction is actually up to 19 sites in construction. We have awarded 38 total sites throughout the state of Kentucky. So we've got 19 under construction with another 7 that will be open. So that right there is 26, and we've got 12 that are in phases of design. One of the items we've asked the developers to help us with is to try to get these stations open in 2026. So the first one actually opened back in September of 2024. It was a Circle K in Richmond, and there was a little bit of a lull because of the problem getting the specific EVSEs, which is the electric vehicle chargers, in terms of what they needed to comply with BABA, with Build America, Buy America. So there was a little bit of a lull after that first initial one was out, but we're really hitting it hard. We've opened up 2 or 3 already this year and expect to open up approximately another 25 to 30 by the end of the calendar year. I'll highlight that we're also going to put out an additional RFP. So the $55 million worth of funds that we've currently got available for the program, we have utilized about $38 million of that thus far. So there's still $17 million that we haven't got obligated that we're going to try to build some more of these stations. For those of you that may not know what I'm talking about when I'm talking about fast charging and when I'm talking about NEVI, there are 3 different types of chargers for electric vehicles. The level 1 charger is the slowest charger that typically comes with the vehicle that you purchase. As you can see, to be able to charge up to 250 miles, that takes anywhere from 2 to 3 days. So this is the slowest charging method, and this is at a level well below what these chargers that we're constructing on the alternative fuel corridors will be able to do for us. Level 2 chargers are slightly faster. They're the ones that you see. You'll see them at hotels. You'll see them at restaurants, public areas, where even public parks where people are expected to leave their vehicle for a significant amount of time, whether it be 8 or 10 hours. You'll see them at workplaces, whatnot. You can typically get a charge of 250 hours over the course of a working day. The level 3 chargers are the ones that are what we've done thus far in the 38 stations that have been awarded through Kentucky. This is critical because this will really facilitate fast travel, or I guess travel throughout the state. If you've got long distances to travel, or for those people that are traveling through the state of Kentucky, whether it's through Ohio, whether it's Tennessee, whether it's Missouri to the west and whatnot, they don't want to have to stop for 10 hours. So these chargers that we're talking about, the DCFC chargers, are ones that can charge your vehicle in 250 miles in about 20 to 30 minutes. And they're making advancements in this each and every day. Whenever we first rolled out the program, it was closer to 30, 35 minutes, and now it's down to about 20, 25. So fast chargers are basically a synopsis for NEVI and these $70 million worth of federal funds. Kentucky is leading the charge. As I said, NEVI is the National Electric Vehicle Infrastructure Program that was established through the bipartisan infrastructure law. And this is not just Kentucky, but this is funding for all states to strategically deploy these charging stations across the country to facilitate long distance travel, with the goal to build an interconnected network, not just throughout Kentucky, but across the United States. It's important to note that these funds that we've awarded, they're going to developers to own, operate, maintain, and construct these charging stations. KYTC is not in that game. We're overseeing the process, but we're not owning and operating these stations, not now and not in the years to come. The stipulation with that is the stations have to be accessible 24/7. So if an EV driver is traveling along, let's say I-64 there in Louisville, they've got to be able to stop, whether it be 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, to be able to charge up. So the stations have to be accessible. They can't be behind gates. The NEVI requirements that I've mentioned, they've got to have at least 4 DC fast chargers at each one of the stations, able to charge your car at least 150 kilowatts for 4 EVs simultaneously. So you see kind of on the right there, we've got 4 EV ports. If there were 4 vehicles are wishing to charge, they've got to be able to charge at least 150 kilowatts to be able to in that 25-minute time frame. It's critical at a part of NEVI is these stations have to be 97% uptime. Everybody's heard the horror stories about EV drivers that have stopped and the charger's been broken. They've not been able to charge. They've had problems with that. So these developers have to they submit a monthly report based upon how often they are down. And if they're down more than that 3%, then they get ticked with they're not getting a portion of their reimbursement. These stations also accept in-person and phone payments, and the Buy America provisions and all the federal requirements have been a big pause for us in terms of developers not used to dealing with federal requirements and federal provisions. has been one of the, along with the EVSEs not being BABA compliant, have really slowed us thus far. This is the EV plan vision that has been in each one of the EV development, each one of the EV plans submitted each year. I'll just go ahead and read it. It's a reliable, accessible, convenient, and affordable EV charging network that supports transportation choices, energy diversification, economic development, and environmental sustainability for all Kentuckians. And that's a key statement for us. The all Kentuckians, we want all Kentuckians across the state to be able to tap into, to be able to have access to EV chargers. So we've awarded 38 to date, and all these stations we've tasked the developers to be able to open all these stations in this calendar year in 2026. Although I will stipulate with that we're having problems with some of them, so we don't expect all 38 to be open. We probably are going to be in the ballpark of at least 30. The 55 million has been awarded to date, and as I said, 7 stations will soon to open with the one in Paducah, and we've also got 19 in construction as of now. With this program as well, you see on the right there with the little EVSE, $7 million worth of federal funds for the program, but the private developers are bringing the match component of this. So it is an 80-20. So they're contributing in at least 20% of matching private funds to be able to make this work. Everybody's interested in the map. So this is a piece that you can see kept up there in the Louisville area. 2 sites under construction. I believe that's a pilot in Shepherdsville, and drawing a blank on the other one, but 2 along I-65. We've got the one there on the Snyder up near 71 that is in design. I will state that these are just the NEVI awarded stations. So there are other fast stations across the state not operating as part of NEVI, but are NEVI-like. Pilot's got several. I know Pilot's got one in Waddy along I-64. Y'all may have seen it. It's not a NEVI station, but it is NEVI-like in the sense that you can fast charge, and there are 4 ports there. So it's essentially a NEVI-like station, but because it's not getting these awarded funds, it's not on our official Team Kentucky EV charging program map. A quick little graph. EV registrations increased between 106% between 2023 and 2025. So this is something we continue to see an increase in registered EVs in Kentucky. So with that, this is the reason why we're got the federal funds awarded, and the reason why we're doing the program is EVs continue to be increasing. I will say. Since the rebate program towards the tail end of 2025, we've seen a little bit of a decrease. That curve is not as sharp as an upward trajectory, but it's still increasing throughout the state. Phase 1 build out. FHWA did update their guidance last summer. And with that, as I said, we've got build out on all the AFCs throughout the state of Kentucky because of that, with these 38 awarded stations. So with that, we're moving to phase 2. So phase 2 gets us off the AFCs, off our interstates and parkways, and we're going to look to focus on high priority corridors within communities in this next phase with this next RFP that we're hoping to put out here in the next couple of weeks or month. The corridors are the key U.S. and state routes that serve long distance travel routes, not the, think of the AA Parkway up in northern Kentucky. Think of a route like US 23 in eastern Kentucky where there's some gaps in the AFC network. That's what we're hoping to cover with this next round of proposals for RFP 4. In terms of procurement, as I mentioned, the federal requirements have been a challenge for many of these private developers. They have not worked with state DOTs before. They have not worked with federal funds before. So it's been a little bit of a hindrance so far in terms of really slowing us to the point where all these awards were made at least 18 to 24 months ago, and we're just now getting to a point to where we're opening a lot of them up. But we're looking as we come into RFP4, we're looking for NEVI experience. We're looking for those that have already done work with us, that own their own sites, and we also looking for some flexibility where we've awarded all DCFCs or level 3 up to this point, but we're aware in some of those, especially in some of those rural areas, there might not be a need for all 4 ports to be level 3 or the fast charging. So some of them could be deployed as level 2s, and with that, it's a lower cost to the developer. It's the DCFC stations with 4 ports and the fast chargers are upwards of $1 million. So the level 2 chargers are less of an expense to them. So you can roll out a couple of level 2s and a couple of DCFCs, and the cost comes down substantially, somewhere in the $500,000 $600,000 ballpark. We've had several stations drop out. With this program, we initially awarded 48 stations, but with that, 10 have dropped out, and the large reason for those is because of the demand chargers and the electric service. With the electric services and the utilities, we actually awarded several in Louisville. BP had a couple on I-64. And they pulled out not only of those 2 in Louisville, but they pulled out of 5 of the other stations throughout the state of Kentucky because of these demand charges that were kind of a financial hurdle for them. So, we are looking for these phase 2 needs as we move on in the program. As we approach procurement, as I said, early spring, we are looking to release our next RFP. This RFP will be different from those RFPs for the reasons I previously mentioned. Not just all 4 DCFCs primarily being the keynote, and we're going off the AFCs. Urban zones, rural designated zones are included with that, and some areas have sufficient coverage. So we're not looking for applications in those areas and sufficient coverage. When I share the map, I'll be able to explain that a little bit better to you. And here is what we're calling the draft RFP format. So as you see, the corridor zones are the ones that are the most critical. That zone there on the Bluegrass Parkway between Lexington and E-Town, we awarded a station there initially, and they're one of the ones that dropped out. So we do have a little bit of a gap where we don't have 50 miles. It's a bigger than 50-mile gap on that AFC. So we're looking to award a station there. The other ones, whether it's along US 60 to the west of Louisville, even in western Kentucky, we've strategically got these corridor zones to be able to hit gaps in our network. We also wanted to encourage applications for rural zones. So rural zones, whether or not you're a community, that's not, I will say, not right by an AFC or not next to a route in Kentucky, a US or Kentucky Parkway. We wanted to open that up for to be able to have applications for those as well as the 6. We've got 6 urban zones there noted as well that we really lack coverage in terms of the fast chargers of the AFCs. Lexington and Northern Kentucky had several dropouts. I will say Northern Kentucky had 3 dropouts. So we're trying to get another station in there. The thing that you don't see on this, and that's kind of at the bottom of the screen, is that proposals are not being requested for the off-white areas. So these areas are ones where the metropolitan planning areas meet the 1 station per 150,000 residents and 1 station for 400 square miles. So as I mentioned previously, this map just highlights the NEVI stations. There are several other stations. You see the gap. I know you'll probably drawn to the map around Louisville, but there are several other NEVI-like stations in that area that uh, that give you all sufficient coverage in terms of meeting those requirements that we've got noted there at the bottom. I encourage you all and anybody to stay connected with us. We've got a website. They're evcharging.ky.gov. We update that regularly, at least once a week, in terms of updated information, especially as stations get to construction and as stations open. We update that pretty religiously. And we've also got an EV program email address there, evchargingprogram@ky.gov, that Justin does an excellent job of checking on and responding to any type of questions or any type of feedback that anybody may submit. There also is a code there that you can scan with your phone and access the website as well. I think that's all I've got. I want to thank you for hearing me out, and I guess I'll take any questions if anybody has anything.
It looks like Daryl has a question.
Yeah.
Yeah, would you mind going back to the slide with the chart that I think showed EV registrations in the state, but I'm not certain. I didn't quite catch it.
Yeah, let me
You
see.
don't mind? And all of this is public information, correct?
It is.
Okay, all right, thanks. I mean, we've got 4 stations at the airport now, well, 5. And, once in a while we'll get some inquiries about, do we have enough? And we always try to compare what and slide 12, yeah.
Let me see if I can find it.
Yeah. All right, that's it, yeah.
So this is all, I will say this is all publicly accessible information on our website too.
Okay.
So we're pulling these registrations, as you know, so the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet has access to all the driver license or the DMV office. So that's where this information is coming from, is specific EFC or specific electric vehicles.
19,600. Okay, great. That's perfect.
Daryl, where, just out of curiosity, where are those at the airport? Are those for maybe somebody that's coming to pick up a loved one and they can get some juice while they're waiting, or how's that work?
So there's one in the garage that is kind of hit and miss. It's where the old valet used to be, with staging area. So we kind of, right now, you get charging if you valet park. So the 4 are in valet parking. But there's, inquiries from Tesla that wants to do a row of them somewhere that's more public, accessible, I guess. I mean, if you don't do valet, you could use those. So yeah, that's kind of what we got. I kind of laugh because it's just always a discussion about where they're located, who's going to be taking care of it, who's taking up a space for too long, and things like that.
Does the airport operate it and charge a fee? Or is it included in your valet parking experience?
Yeah, it's just part of your valet parking experience. Yeah. No, so thank you. Yeah.
Got a question. Mikhail, you said that, or for everybody in the TPC, later in the meeting, we'll talk about administrative modification, and 3 of those BP stations were in our region, one of which is within walking distance right over there at Thornton's, just across the street here. Are we still meeting the framework that you all described, the population density or the station density, even without those stations coming online soon?
Yes, we are. I think the key component to that, Andy, is this map, which shows all the stations, does not show those other, like it does. I don't know where all of them are. I know I've driven enough of 64 to know that there's a station here at the Pilot and Waddy that's a fast charging station that meets the criteria of NEVI-like. So with this, it's any station that is NEVI-like also meets this. So there's a couple more there in Louisville. The issue with Northern Kentucky and why we're looking for additional proposals up there is we don't have any other NEVI-like stations in Northern Kentucky. There are a couple in Ohio, but we would like to get some in terms of redundancy in Ohio. That's what, or in Northern Kentucky. That's what's causing us to not meet the criteria there.
If I'm not mistaken, there's a couple that are NEVI or NEVI qualified ones in southern Indiana in our region, if I'm not mistaken. I think
Yes, there might be as well. Yes.
these calculation. Okay, thank you.
There you go. Excuse me.
Sean Spencer's got a question.
Looks like, yeah. Greg, you want to read that one?
Yeah, it says, do we know the EV registration rates for the areas of southern Indiana that are part of what we consider Kentuckiana?
We've got them the only thing that we've got in terms of KYTC is we tag it by the vehicle registrations and it's tagged by county. So with those being in southern Indiana, I assume Indiana registered plates, we don't have access to that information. We've only got them broken out by county in the state of Kentucky.
So KIPTA has some of the requires some of the vehicle registration data to put through some of the air quality modeling we talk about from time to time in here, the MOVES model. And so that data we get it when it comes in from both Kentucky and Indiana, but usually there's a bit of a lag in it. So even if we had, I don't know what our most current Indiana fleet mix data is, but in theory we have it somewhere here, but I don't know that it's fresh enough, Sean, because as Mikhail's chart showed, if you're not including 24 and 25 model years, let's say, or 26, I guess at this point, you're missing a whole lot of them because what'd you say, it doubled over?
Yeah.
23 to 25, it doubled or something like that?
Yeah, and if it's we have it's to be able to put together our plan that I mentioned. We get updated data. We make that request specifically to the specific users in KYTC. In terms of our maps, whether it used to be on Datamart, I think everything's moving to KY Track now. That information in terms of what's available for public knowledge isn't updated as regularly. I wish I knew. I wish I could tell you exactly how often it's updated, if it's monthly or if it's bi-monthly or whatnot. But this, because of what we had to do to submit our plan to FHWA, we made the direct request to be able to get the most updated numbers to be able to comply for this specific chart.
Oh, yeah. Sean says thank you.
There you go.
Thanks, Mikhail. I know you had another meeting that popped up on your screen. It popped up on my screen at the exact same time. So maybe we'll see you on there. Well, I'm gonna stick it out here. So give it my best if you join that meeting later.
Yeah, I think it's our public involvement plan. So
Indeed.
yeah.
Thanks again, Mikhail.
Okay.
All right, have a good one.
Thank you. Andy, Unified Planning Work Program.
It's very united.
There you go.
We're united here.
Absolutely, all the way around.
Yes, 2 states, 5 counties. Greg's gonna bring that up. It's the time of the year where it's time to review our fiscal 27 Unified Planning Work Program, UPWP. We'll have to click here a moment. Good. There's a link in your packet for those that are following along at home. There's a QR code for those that want to join here. It's a long document. You're welcome to follow along. It's not going to be that involved in a presentation, but there's a QR code. It's on the next slide too. So go ahead. Right. Same QR code. Next slide if anybody wants to see it. What is a Unified Planning Work Program? It's something that describes what we do. It shows how much it will cost and it shows where the money's coming from. That's the way I like to break it down. So I hope that breaks it down in a simple way. In a meaningful way. We update it every year. Some MPOs in other states, I think, do it every 2 years, UPWP, but we've always done a single 1-year work program here. I don't see that changing. It's got our primary MPO work elements. Again, just another recap. This is strictly about the MPO function here at KIPTA. So it's got our MPO work elements. We're required to include the funding for our rideshare program, which is a bit of an offshoot from MPO. But still MPO related. any of the programs that we get involved with, discretionary grants, the planning studies that sometimes we use the PL funds for. More on that here in a little bit, from different agenda items. So next, oh, hold on, we got some people take a picture. Oh, we good? All right, because I think that's the last one has the what you call it? What do you call it? It's QR code.
QR code.
Yep.
So here's our schedule for this year. Back in February last month, I submitted the draft work program to the various planning partners. That's namely KYTC and NDOT and the federal agencies that fund the MPO program. March, we've received a few comments, not a whole lot yet. We made some edits, but not all of them yet. Those are due on the Kentucky schedule. Those are due on the Kentucky schedule by the end of the month, so we'll be getting them soon. We'll turn those around as quick as we can. NDOT wants to turn them around real quick once we get them, so we'll be turning them around pretty quick. I'll be talking to you guys here today, be taken to the board since it is a budgetary item. It is something that requires board approval each year. And then the work programs are due at the end of April. So wherever we end up by the end of April, that's where we need to be. And that's what will get submitted at that time. This year, we won't be having April meetings. We won't be having April TTCC, we won't have an April TPC, nor will we have an April Board of Directors meeting. And so the way I see this going, because remember, they don't have all the comments in and they can't make the edits if we don't have the comments. There's probably some budgetary things that might change too over the next several weeks. And so the way I see it going, but it'd be up to this body to decide how we want to handle the TPC and at the board next hour. But I think one thing that we could do is seek ratifications of these things at the May meetings. I'll certainly submit to the TPC and to the board the status of it in April, but again, we won't be having those meetings in April. And so that's something that we'll have to discuss perhaps at the end of this presentation here momentarily. Then through April through June, our fiscal year begins on July 1st, like many of yours does. And so April through June is when those contracts get developed. KYTC will provide us with a couple contracts, one for the transit funds and one for the FHWA funds, and then NDOT does a single contract each year. Don't mean to read this, but this is the guts of it. It's a big table that has all the funding and all the different programs. But let's go to the next slide, and more on that here. Here's some of the highlights, maybe some changes, etc. Okay, so in Kentucky, remember we get basically our funding, MPO funding comes in 4 buckets. PL funding, Metropolitan Planning Funding, that's the FHWA side of the thing. We get that from Kentucky and Indiana. Those federal funds we get through Kentucky and Indiana, KYTC and NDOT. Very similarly, we get what's known as FTA, Federal Transit Administration's Section 5303 funds. So we get PL and 5303. Two buckets from each state, 4 buckets total. The largest by far that we get is the Kentucky PL funds, the Federal Highways funds from Kentucky. And this year, KIPTA and the other 9 MPOs in Kentucky all got a little bit of a raise. And so we're up by about 4.4%. Pretty big number. 60,000 additional federal dollars for fiscal 27. Very thankfully, and a shout out to Mr. Pelfrey. I don't think he's on the line anymore, but they continue to match. They help cover the match. All these funds are 80-20. They cover a good chunk of that for us. In Kentucky, we also work with the Office of Transportation Delivery. That's AKA the KYTC Transit Office, if you will. And they require us to apply each year for funding in a unique way. That's not required by the other funders, if you will. And so this year, for the first time in several years, maybe many years, we are requesting an increase to our funding there from 250,000 federal up to 275. At that rate, for those that are wondering, that rate, if you want to make that a per capita number, that's still it's only about half what we get per capita from Indiana. So even though the number is bigger per capita, it's a lot less than what we get from Indiana. In Indiana, we do have some funding decreases this year. It happened last year and the year before last too. Basically, a couple years ago, 2024 was the high water mark. There's a couple contributing factors there, but no cause for alarm. I think we're in good shape going forward. Basically, they changed the funding formula across the MPOs that modernized it, and so we lost a little bit there. But also there were some like one-time funds that were in there. So it is important to note that we're still quite a bit above where we were maybe about 5 years ago on that front. So no cause for alarm. We wish we had more, but that's okay. But overall, net gain is I think somewhere in around like 40 to 50,000. We'll have 40 or 50,000 additional dollars. Also notable, fiscal year 27 will be year two, where KIPTA has chosen our option, if you will, to pursue funding that's for complete streets planning. That when efforts go toward complete streets planning, you can it's not required to have any local match, and so KIPTA is pursuing that once again in fiscal 27. I think we were the pioneers on that in fiscal 26 in Kentucky, and it's going fine. It's going fine. It works. But we don't commit a whole lot of money to that, just so even though we're doing more than that number of hours in complete streets planning, but we are only billing the amount that we are programmed. Go ahead. Okay. Some more highlights. Just to note that overall the total budget is down, but no cause for alarm there. We're down by a big number, 1.83 million. You're like, oh, what the heck? We're still at 3.89 million when you put all the programs in there. Those federal funds, by the way, PL dollars and 5303, that's about just over $2 million in federal funds. So those dollars plus the match equals quite a bit more than 2 million. But overall, when you put our rideshare program and all the planning studies and whatnot, we're at a $3.89 million total budget in fiscal 27. Why is it down so much from last year? Very simply, that Safe Streets and Roads for All grant was required to be in there. That was $750,000. Tarks Transit Center, because FTA required us to amend that, put that in there. That was another $500,000, if I'm not mistaken. And so a couple other reasons. Our Indiana carryover, that's a drastic reduction. We aren't carrying over as much money this year to next as we were last year to this year. That's a fine thing. We're spending it. That's good. And then also of note, the regional rideshare program that we call Every Commute Counts. Basically, what has been proposed is that we will give that program a pay cut, if you will, not to the people that work there in this building, but rather since our ridership is still down from 5 to 10 to 15 years ago. The STBG dollars, not the PL dollars, mind you, the STBG dollars that get committed by the TPC from Kentucky and Indiana contribute to fund that program and federal funds for that program. In Kentucky, we're lowering that down to 673,000 federal. It was up around the 900,000 range. Why is it? That's a 29% decrease, but we're spending less than that 673. So we're in good shape. Why does that matter to this group of TPC? Any money that we don't, that $200,000 or $300,000 difference, we're throwing that right back into the bucket for the STBG funds or the SLO funds, if you will, for your all's communities to use to build projects for it. So that's a pretty notable thing there. In the draft that was submitted, and some of these things are the things that are subject to change. We put 125,000 federal dollars in there for planning studies. Brady will be talking about that under agenda item number 7, the next one. He'll be talking about that in just a moment. We put in 80,000 reserved for contract services. For those that have been a part of our working group meetings, you may know what we're talking about here. We may be pursuing some contract services this year for a special project or two. We will have some carryover money that we conservatively estimate that at $55,000 carrying over. Remember, Indiana allows us to carry over money. Kentucky doesn't. That may be changing soon, but it hasn't changed yet. So we can carry over our Indiana funds on the planning side. We can carry over our project funds in Kentucky, but we can't do either one in reverse. So very confusing, I understand, but that's how it goes. And then also we have, at this time, we have 136,000 Federal Reserve for our streetlight subscription. It's time for us to renew that once again. That number, I put an asterisk next to a couple of these. That number has actually come down over the last few weeks. We've got a revised quote from them, and it will actually be substantially less. And so that money that we would have put in the draft, once all the comments come in, we won't need as much for streetlight potentially, and we will throw that into those other buckets, namely the contract services bucket. Next slide, please. Again, very few comments thus far. Working with NDOT staff, been working with KYTC Office of Transportation Delivery staff. I think during the meeting, I got an email from Ms. Pittman over there. And so we should be in pretty good shape. Those folks, they asked for unique tables, so provided them. Again, some of these things are subject to change, and then if that's the preference of this committee, I think we should expect I'll come back to you guys with the final numbers in May for ratification, but we can talk about how we want to handle that at this time. I think that's the last thing I had. Yes, so this time, I guess, let's have that conversation, how we want to handle that. Again, we won't have meetings in April. If we did, most definitely I would have brought this to you in April, bringing it to you in March, since we won't be here in April. So I'm open to all suggestions on that front. Or any questions about the work program overall.
Questions, comments? I would rather present it to the board.
This is on today's board agenda as well.
Yes.
Yes.
And then move forward with it in May.
Okay.
Any comments? None? Okay,
Fine by me.
fair enough.
All right. Thank you.
Brady, call for studies planning funds. There you go. There you go.
Don't we need actual approval on that, or did you?
We're gonna seek the board approval, and then come back and still would like a presentation in May. I'll provide this whole TPC. When I have the final numbers in April, I'll say, hey, guys,
Right.
here's what I talked about in March.
Yep.
Here's the final numbers, talk about how things might move and shake a little bit. Once I get the comments in from Federal Highways is probably who the one I'm expecting comments from in the next week or so. And then,
Come back in.
come back in that.
Yep.
Perfect.
Sounds good. All right, as Andy mentioned, this kind of goes right along with what you were just talking about in the last agenda item, the UPWP. Fiscal year 2027 call for studies. Fiscal year 2025, funded 3 separate studies, all of which have been completed and presented to the TTCC by this point. University of Louisville's pedestrian bridge design and feasibility study, Clarksville's trail master plan, Floyd County's Paoli Pike sidewalk master plan. In fiscal year 26, we have 2 projects that KIPTA funded and are still ongoing. Those studies, Louisville Metro's Freight Mobility Action Plan and Shepherdville's traffic master plan for Central Floyd County. So this year, we also anticipate having some funding available potentially for planning studies. These dollars come from the same dollars Andy was just talking about. There's 4 kind of major buckets of money that KIPTA gets to pay for a lot of things, pay for streetlight, pay for our salaries, pay for equipment we need to use to run the MPO operations. These come from the PL funds, the 1.4 million from Kentucky, and then the lesser amount, the just over $250,000 from Indiana, and then also the FTA section 5303 funds, some from Kentucky, some from Indiana. These funds require a match. If KIPTA uses the money, that match comes from the
Local dues.
Local dues, yes, the local dues are used as match for these dollars. If KIPTA gives them out to a local municipality for a planning study, that would need to be matched by the local municipality. The typical match rate here is 80-20, although the final match rate will be a little different because of what Andy mentioned earlier. The biggest pot of money of those 4 sections, the $1.4 million, KYTC has agreed recently to match or to pay half of the 20% match, meaning that the local municipality would only have to pay 10% in this case. And so the actual number might be somewhere between 10 and 20%. Or there's also a possibility if we end up choosing to fund more than one planning study, It's what we've done in the past is overmatch projects, perhaps 75-25% in order to do more studies. So anticipate the 20% match, but understand that it could be a little less, could be a little more, depending on how it works out. We anticipate around $125,000 of federal EPL dollars to be available for this call for studies. That number is also subject to a few things. Depending on what the final carryover balance is at the end of this fiscal year, depending on the contract services that KIPTA decides to move forward with. That Andy mentioned before, but right now we're estimating $125,000 federal dollars for this fiscal year 27 call for studies. Schedule, Andy's been working on putting the estimate together, and then the application period opens on April 1st and runs through April 30th. So you have the whole month of April to submit applications to KIPTA for these funds. KIPTA staff will take the next couple of weeks to analyze those applications and vet them as necessary. And we will have an announcement of award projects at the May TPC on whatever it says there, May 28th or 26th. I can't see that.
28th.
Now, and then we hope to have agency contracts in place with whoever is awarded funds as quickly as possible, hopefully around August. The reason for that is because selected studies must be completed by the end of the next fiscal year. So the end of fiscal year 27, June 30th, 2027. That can be a tight turnaround. So the quicker that we're able to get these studies under contract and started, the more time that the municipalities will have to actually complete the work with their consultants if necessary. All right, in order to actually reach the application, it's located at the same spot as all KIPTA's other applications, where you can see our full project application or expedited project application or STBG cost increase application. It's the same page. It's kiptatransportation.org/forms. You can also find this page through KIPTA's main website as well. It's linked in there. But once you get to this page, there will be an icon that says fiscal year 2027 PL funding, and click the icon and there's the application. If anyone has any questions about the process or questions about the application or how to find it, feel free to ask now or email or call. I'm always happy to answer questions. Okay, that's all I have.
Brady, thank you. Any questions for Brady? Comments? Okay. Thank you, Brady.
Thank you.
We'll move on to the Coordinated Human Services Transportation Plan revisions. Mick?
Good afternoon. We're talking about the 2026 revisions to the 2024 plan. I'll start by saying they're very minor revisions, just a little tune-up. But just as a refresher of what is a Coordinated Human Services Transportation Plan, it's a way for communities to improve collaboration and communication across transportation providers. It's a developed process. An update of it's required at least every 5 years from Federal Transit Administration to stay eligible for the Section 5310 funds. And those Section 5310 funds make federal resources available to improve mobility for seniors and individuals with disabilities. The 2024 plan was adopted by this body last October. The themes were performance, access, safety, and coordination. It included surveys completed by both users and providers. And this plan covered all 9 KIPTA counties. So this is a Kentucky and Indiana plan, and it's also an urban and rural plan. Section 5310 funding. Projects must serve seniors and or individuals with disabilities. Park allocates the funding for the Louisville urbanized area. Outside the urbanized area in Kentucky, it's awarded by the KYTC Office of Transportation Delivery. And outside the urbanized area in Indiana, it's awarded by the NDOT Office of Transit. Capital costs may not exceed 80% federal share. Capital cost, an example of that would be like a new vehicle. Operational cost may not exceed a 50% federal share. And an example of that may be fuel. So the revisions we've done for 2026, we've removed references to environmental justice. And that's to comply with the executive order. We've also added a TARC memo to Appendix C, describing the most recent awards of Section 5310 funding. It's just the idea of the impact of that is, it was over $1.4 million awarded this cycle. And we also updated the TARC fare tables with the new fares that were effective on March 2nd. And with that, I can take any questions.
These were very minor, right? So TTCC thought that it was probably wouldn't even worthy of action, just the informational adjustments.
Okay. Well, Mick, thank you.
Thank you.
Chris, how are you today? Good deal. Administrator, there you go. Modifications to the FY 2025, FY 2028 Transportation Improvement Program, TIP and Connecting Kentuckiana 2050 Metropolitan Transportation Plan.
Yes, a mouthful.
You got it.
Okay. So this is administrative modification 10 to the TIP, 32 to the MTP. Okay. So as a reminder, administrative modifications are designed for our minor project updates, thus the TPC approval is not required. This presentation is for information only, but you can find a copy of the administrative modification in the meeting packet. And I'm just gonna summarize those details in a few slides. Also, as another reminder, the admin mod was sent to the TPC member list and also submitted to KYTC and NDOT for the STIP inclusion back on March 17th, 2026, St. Patrick's Day. Okay, so some of the qualifying criteria for these type of modifications includes correcting obvious data entry or clerical errors, certain updates to project details without altering the original project intent. And also, and often the case is just the updates to the TIP funding or the project phases, but they cannot affect the fiscal constraint or the air quality monitoring. Okay, I'm gonna start with the Indiana project updates. Got 17 total project updates. We have 8 in Indiana this time. So these first two, a discovery was recently made that there was an issue with our TIP, which we've had for quite a while. Both of these first two projects are Clarksville projects, and they're both present in the TIP map in the draft and also online, and we have the project details in the project list online and tracking sheet. However, there's a missing page in the TIP. It actually got replaced by a duplicate page. And so just to bring all that information back together, due to the clerical error, we put these projects back in this administrative modification. Next, I have 3 NDOT projects. These are 3194, 2965, and 2913. They're all getting updates to the total estimated project cost and TIP funding phases. And then I have 3 more NDOT project updates. They're all new group projects. One is the District Bridge Rehab Project. And then we also have an I-65 and an I-265 tree clearing project. Next, I have the Kentucky projects. For KYTC, we have Kentucky 393. That's getting an update to the total cost and TIP funding. And then I have the 3 projects that Andy mentioned earlier. These are 3 NEVI EV charging stations that we have to remove from the TIP. I think Mikkel pointed out how these projects work with like a private partnership, and it's my understanding, I guess, that they pulled out for whatever reason. We have the BP at Fort Inns on Firstborn, VP at Fort Inns on Blankenbaker, and VP at Fort Inns on West Highway 146. So there's that, and then we have two KYTC projects that are I-65 bridge projects. We have the Jacob Broadway and Gray Street, and also I-65 bridge at Brook and Muhammad Ali. These are just getting minor updates to the TIP funding and the totals. I'm gonna have 3 more in the next admin mod related to these I-65 bridge projects. But that'll be coming next month. Then we have Louisville Metro, we have the Reimagine 9th Street project. We're doing some updates to the TIP funding for the greater project, and we are adding a new related group project. It's titled Muhammad Ali at Chestnut River Park Rehab Project. And that one's a group project, as we said, group maintenance. And we are going to also have more changes coming to the greater Reimagine 9th Street project, KIPT ID 2733 in the next amendment. And we're going to add another related project that didn't qualify as a group project in the next amendment as well. Finally, I have one TARC project. It's KIPT ID 3457, purchasing paratransit vehicles project. That one's just getting some updates to the campaign. That completes my list. If anyone has any questions, let me know.
Any questions for Chris? Hearing none, thank you, Chris. Andy, federal certification review.
Yes, so I've mentioned it a couple times already, but we are barreling toward our once every 4 years federal certification review here at KIPTA. The certification review of not just the MPO, but of the metropolitan planning process in our region. So KIPTA is at the front of that in terms of who's getting certified. So, but they're certifying not just KIPTA, but the transit planning and some of the coordination that it gets done here with KYTC and NDOT and the local governments. So just to cover some of that, just to get, maybe some of you all haven't been around for one of these before, so I thought I would share a little bit of information that FHWA has provided to us. Again, I think I've mentioned before, this is scheduled for, it's a 2-day event, really one major day and then one half day, May 6th and May 7th. May 6th will be an all-day event here in the KIPTA Burke Room with Federal Highways, Federal Transit reps here and perhaps online as well. With KIPTA staff, TARC staff, hopefully KYTC and NDOT staff as well can be here. But the thing that has been announced to us that it's going to be, they're calling it a risk-based approach this go around. And so I think that's meant to take a focused look at a few things and maybe not an all-in look at all the things, but a solid look at all the things. And so some of these topics that you can see on here that I think they want to focus on, just kind of general stuff, of course, bike ped planning, transit planning, safety, security, NEPA planning and NEPA, how those linked. They're always looking for to ensure that the MPOs and the planning partners are following all the federal regulations on those fronts, seeking good examples of what KIPTA or our peer agencies are doing across the country, sharing those with KIPTA and the peer agencies across the country. So that's how some of this goes too. So it goes on to say that there's going to be a desk review. A desk review is, hey, put stuff on your website or put it out, post it so everybody can see it in advance. And so they've asked us to have that ready by next Friday, April 3rd, so that we're on track for that. You can see some of the things. This is basically the full gamut of a lot of the products that we put out here. And so our approach this year is going to be the same as what we did a few years ago, 4 years ago. It was June or so of 2022 was our last version of this. And we're going to do what's known as a story map. Zach's putting that together for us. And it's going to have lots of links. We have lots of good information that we'll have for not just for our federal partners to review in the month leading up to this, again, April 3rd through the May 6th timeframe, but for a resource the day of. for anybody that's in the room, and probably a lasting resource that we put out on our website. It'll just be full of maps and links and all the good stuff for everybody to use as needed. So again, May 6th and May 7th, here at KIPTA. Tanya Higdon, she's out on some medical leave right now. She might be joining us at this time. I would call on her and say, hey, Tanya, do you have anything that you'd like to add? She will be coordinating those efforts. And so I hope that, like I said, that TARC, KYTC, and NDOT staff can join us here on May 6th. Happy to answer any questions. If you have other questions, give me a call, send me an email. Be happy to talk to you about it. But again, May 6th and 7th here.
We'll have a public meeting at, did you mention that?
Oh, good call. Each of these certification reviews requires a public hearing. Okay, so they ask the MPOs to help coordinate the spot and the meeting. And so our meeting will be at the Arterburn over at St. Matthews. So thank you for St. Matthews for hosting. So we'll be over there on the evening of May 6th, 5:30.
Yeah, 5 o'clock, I think, but the time's not totally been confirmed yet.
Never fails. We'll be in here all day and be like, oh crap, we gotta be done because we need to be at the other place. And the whole room basically picks up and moves to the other place. In this case, we picked somewhere close. I think last time we picked somewhere in the south end and it took us a long time to get there. So this time we picked St. Matthews because it's a little bit closer with this in mind. So again, so that's the federal certification review summary, and happy to hopefully we have some really good news for everybody come our next meeting in May.
Great. Well, thank you, Andy.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? If hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
We've got a couple more.
Oh, we got a couple
Yeah, we've
more?
got some other business if you, just real quick. Sorry,
Okay.
two pager. We're almost
Sorry
there,
about that.
I promise. Exactly, just MPO directors for, I'll hop right in.
Okay.
If you-
There you go.
Okay, just a couple announcements.
Yep.
Project management guidebook meetings, our project management guidebook, that's something that those are basically the rules of the game for the dedicated funding programs. We have a lot of rules for Kentucky. Plenty of rules for Indiana, but we have different rules because of the different rules that are required. Brady has coordinated 2 meetings thus far, 2 of 3. Those have been going very well. I hope that some of you all have been able to join us. I just want to point out that our third and final version of that is on April 29th at 10 a.m. here at KIPTA. I think you will learn a lot if you join us. I promise you'll learn a lot if you join us. It's made up, it's a TTCC working group, but all of your all's agencies are on the TTCC, so you're certainly welcome to join us for that. Brady, you want to add anything about that and status of that?
No, but if you have any questions or anything, I'm always happy to answer phone or email.
Yeah, first go around a month and a half ago or so, it was kind of a brainstorming session. That was healthy. We did some polls and online, or how much, what's the temperature of the room? Last time we had some good conversation about what some of the proposals could be. And so we'll have basically some of those proposals drafted into a new guidebook, and that those approved. The intention is to bring them to the TPC in May, correct?
Still the plan.
Yeah, so next meeting we'll have that, and those will be the rules of the road for the next call for projects and beyond. So reminder, no meeting in April. We'll see everybody again on May 28th, 12:30 here at KIPTA. And I think if they're all still on here, I want to say hi and welcome, thank you for being here to Byron Chapman from Jefferson County League of Cities, Mayor of Middletown. And then also to Claire Johnson from City of New Albany. Thank you all for joining us today. So that concludes the MPO report.
Okay, any other business? Oh, hearing none. Now I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So.
A motion, second. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Like, sign opposed.